Okay, we're live, and I am going to tweet real quick to let y'all know that I'm live because this is impromptu. Jameis, the Jameis news has broken, and of course, less than 24 hours after I do my stream talking about my thoughts on the Jameis Winston suspension, it comes out and it's official about the NFL has brought down a 3-game suspension on Jameis, and I want to hear your thoughts, guys. And I'm doing multiple screens here, making sure that all my P's and Q's are in order because yesterday my stream cut out in the middle of things. So, but I feel like it's worthy of doing an impromptu live stream while I have the time. I only have a little bit of time because I am about to go watch a movie. So if you're watching this on replay, thanks for joining. Remember to subscribe if you haven't. We do weekly live streams once a week, usually every Wednesday at 9 p.m., unless otherwise noted. Be sure you're following me at The Play Reaction on Twitter. That's where I interact with most of you guys and when I tell you when I'm live, such as right now. Because you never know when I might just go live and start talking about Jameis Winston. So here we are. It is official. Jameis is suspended. The NFL has said, hey, we believe the Uber driver. We did extensive research. We did extensive digging, and they listed the things that they've gone through, records and all kinds of stuff, testimonies, and they've determined that Winston is guilty. He did what he did. And I'm going to stay consistent on this, guys. I'm disappointed in Jameis. And this is the outcome I was hoping wasn't going to be the case, but it is. Now, Jameis hasn't officially, what's up, Adrian? How you doing, man? Jameis hasn't officially admitted guilt to touching the Uber driver. I think that should be clear. He has apologized for putting her in the position she's in by his actions, which to me sounds like he's admitting that, yes, because of my decision to get just completely hammered to the point where I don't remember what happened, I put you in this situation. So that is what Jameis has apologized for. That isn't necessarily an admission of guilt. So, sorry, I gotta turn down some audio on my iPad so I don't hear an echo. What do you guys think about this? I want to hear it. Adrian, let me know what you think, and I see a couple others in the chat room. Is it time to sound off? I've got about 30 minutes to go, and I have to leave, and we're gonna go see a movie. So, this is kind of a continuation of my stream last night. Last night I said we didn't have all the facts, which we still don't have all the facts, and we still may not have all the facts, but the NFL did way more research than any of us could ever do, and based on that research, they have determined that Jameis is guilty, and the Uber driver was telling the truth. Now, we can draw a line in the sand and be on one side and say, nope, Jameis is completely innocent because he's denied it this whole time, and I believe him. Or we can be on the other side of, well, the NFL said he's guilty, so I believe he's guilty. Whatever side you're on there, remember there is still gray area. We may never know what actually happened, but the fact of the matter is, it has been found, based on the NFL's research, that Jameis not only did this, but he lied to us all by saying he didn't do it and is lying to us all. Now, you can choose who to believe there, but like I said last night, my disappointment in Jameis, guilty or not, is the immaturity that he showed that night, regardless. What we do know is that he got into that Uber completely wasted. And he got into that Uber and got in the front seat and was hanging out with shady friends and left himself open to this happening. Whether he did it or whether he didn't do it, what happened, and he put himself in that situation. So, at the very least, whether or not you believe he did it, he still made a horrible mistake and a very immature mistake and potentially did something even worse. So, he's suspended for 3 games. Now, there is speculation that the 3 games is not the full 6 because part of the process of him taking down the suspension is him complying with either possibly doing counseling or possibly issuing an official apology, which he did today. Maybe that's part of it. We don't know the conditions. Again, we may never know the conditions, but that's where we stand. Let me go to you guys. Rocco, he's a predator. Predator, no excuse. I drink and I don't grope women. Rocco, that's a fantastic point. I am actually, I've softened a little bit on this because I've realized that everyone reacts to alcohol differently. But I am just like you, Rocco. I have had alcohol to the point where I was hungover the next day. I've had enough where I was drunk that night, admittedly, and never once did I ever I don't know the words. To compensate is the word I'm thinking. That's not the right word. I never once did I ever break down my morals. Like, I had the opportunity to do things when I was drunk that I wouldn't normally do when I was sober, and I still had my morals. I still had my conscience intact. So I do have very little grace for people who blame it on the alcohol, baby. And I'm right there with you. Like, that's my disappointment in Jameis too, because whether or not he did it, the fact that he put himself in that situation, given his history in college, this is not a first offense. That is what Jameis did wrong. So I don't have a whole lot of grace there either. Adrian, Jameis Winston is officially suspended, and he made a statement. It sounds like he's taken blame after he told the Bucs when it first came out that he didn't do it. Don't know what to say now. So if he lied to the Bucs and fans, can I trust him anymore? What do you think? Yeah, Adrian, that's the thing. And again, we may not know the actual truth to it all, but we can only go on the facts of what we know. And it's looking like Jameis lied to us and the organization. And if he did, that's another level of disappointment. And no, we can't trust him. I agree with the people who have said now is the time to start thinking of plan B. Whereas a few months ago, we were like, Jameis is QB of the future. The Bucs have never had a quarterback get a second contract. That's now looking like it's in jeopardy when before it looked like a lock. And I honestly, I don't blame people for thinking that. And I wouldn't blame the Bucs for drafting a quarterback next year. This year is going to be huge for him. No, I don't think we should cut him outright. I'm not on that bandwagon. No, I don't think we should trade for Nick Foles. I think that's ridiculous. But he's got now 13 games. He's got 13 games. And remember, guys, he also has the years after this where he has shown that he has matured. And what I'm referring to is, if you follow him on social media, you know he has a baby on the way. He's getting married, and he has since given his life to the Lord and has been baptized. This all has happened after the time when the alleged incident occurred. So if you want to believe in second chances, last night I mentioned Ray Lewis, how he got himself into a big heap of trouble, barely escaped a murder charge, or at least a conviction, and turned his life around. And that's what Jameis needs to do right now. He should have done it before, but that's what he needs to do right now. He said in his statement that he's given up alcohol, which I think is awesome. That's, again, that's what I mentioned last night. As long as he's taking those steps up towards maturity, I have the ability to forgive him for this. Now, I'm not the one who was sexually assaulted, so that's someone else's forgiveness that they have to go through. But as for me as a fan, if he lied to me, I will have a little bit of grace there. So, Rocco, he lied about not being in the car himself with the Uber. On top of that, he's average at best on the field. It's a joke. This is bigger than football. Rocco, yeah, that's also a good point. He said he wasn't in the car by himself, but then he was in the car by himself, according to, I need to look up the guy's name. Whatever the guy who's in jail for rape, that guy said that Jameis was eventually alone in the car in a separate Uber. Now, again, we are taking the word there of a convicted felon, so who may just be trying to be covering his butt so he can get out of jail sometime soon. We don't know, but again, we have to go with the facts. And what we do know is that Jameis even said at the top, he was like, no, I wasn't in it alone, which it seems like he was. So yeah, there's shady stuff going there. No bones about it. Now, average at best on the field. Yeah, I mean, that's your opinion. I think he is a little bit better than average and is trending upward. So, um, how many excuses are we going to give this dude? He's running out of them for sure. I mean, he 100% has lost all of his strikes. Well, maybe he has one left. I don't know, depending on how you look at it. Andy, what's up? Hey, haven't been in the live streams in a while. Welcome back, man. Thank you, Mr. Bucs Nation. James, appreciate you checking in from Publix, working. Rocco, makes you think the girl at the FSU wasn't lying. So many people covered stuff up. Yeah, it does. I mean, this is what this kind of thing does. And this is, I mean, again, everything's warranted now because Jameis put himself in this situation. You have to go back and look like, well, okay, now this is number 2. Is there a trend here? And we keep bringing up Big Ben Roethlisberger. That's just as shady as well. I mean, he had 2 separate accusations of sexual assault, and if there's a trend, you can't just ignore it. And I mean, these are serious accusations here. So this Me Too again, and this Me Too movement makes it so you can't try to blink. I'm not going to touch that. Rocco, the organization is backing him up. That makes Glazers look bad, in my opinion. I wouldn't give him $20 million. Rocco, so now, as far as the organization is concerned, they are at a level where they probably know more than we know. I'm positive that the NFL investigation, that the Bucs are privy to all of that information that we are not privy to in the NFL's investigation. So that is something, if you want to kind of look for a cloud of benefit of the doubt or anything like that, the NFL has taken all of their information and has determined him to be guilty. The Buccaneers have taken that same information, assumedly, and are standing by Jameis. So, to me, if that is the case, that says that there is a little bit more gray area than we're treating it. And that the Bucs, I feel like if they felt like he was guilty, if they didn't believe him, they would not have been in his corner. So the argument then can be made that the NFL is finding him guilty like they found Tom Brady guilty of deflating balls. And it's just one person's opinion, and they may be trying to save face. Just throwing it out there. I'm not saying I believe that, but that is reasonable doubt that could be in there. I could see that happening. Andy, what do you think will happen if he has a subpar season? Andy, if he has a subpar season, we're drafting a quarterback. And I think we're drafting a quarterback anyway. If he has a subpar season, we're drafting a quarterback first round. I don't know if we cut him. It's probably quite likely, since this would be the last year on his contract. So take that for what you will. Rocco, I don't care if he has 50 babies on the way and gets married. He's a criminal at the end of the day. Right? Yeah, Rocco, I mean, you're definitely entitled to that opinion. Again, he's not an official criminal. That's not a fact. That is an opinion. No charges have been filed, but to each his own. You can believe what you want to believe. Rocco, I look at it as what if my daughter was the Uber driver? I can't forgive him. Yeah, if it was my daughter, I agree with you. I completely agree with you. I would believe my daughter. I would believe her if she accused a guy, 100%. But if it was my daughter, I would be biased. You have to look at it objectively. If he did 100% do it, yeah, of course I would be outraged. But when there is reasonable doubt, we can look at it objectively because she's not our daughter. So I don't know. Adrian, one thing that is keeping me in there, still hope and faith in Jameis, is how he lives the game of football and has a passion to win. I want to see him win games. And oops, I just lost my place. I want to see him win games and show this season with wins. Yeah. So if he has a great season, he becomes Ben Roethlisberger. If he wins, it's over. That's it. Now, there will be the fringe people who have written him off. Rocco, probably one of them, is like, he's dead to me. Again, that's fine. Your prerogative. I'm not going to get upset with you. I don't blame you. But if he wins, he's staying on this team, 100%. If we make the playoffs, or if we're 9-7, he stays on the team. Or if he just shows the improvement he's been showing, he stays on the team. Especially seeing that the Bucs are kind of have his back. So, Again, this is clearly a girl trying to get publicity, but going after a famous guy. Now, again, I would kind of combat that, and people may have been arguing with you in the chat. I haven't gotten there yet, but this is different than a girl trying to money grab. If it was a girl trying to money grab, she probably would have gone public with it when it happened. She's not even the one that went public with it. It was TMZ that uncovered it, and it was years later. So to me, that doesn't sound like a girl trying to get publicity. We don't even know her name. And I feel like we would by now. So, Jay, I don't know if I can forgive him. He lied to us. Who knows what he will do next? I'll be watching from afar now. Jay, I have a Jameis Winston jersey. I won't be wearing it. And it's sad. I really am disappointed, guys. Like, I am very upset by this because I've been sticking up for Jameis, like I'm sure a bunch of you have. And this is before the allegations. People make fun of me as a Bucs fan because of Jameis, because of his college stuff. And I have been tooth and nail being like, guys, he's changed. Since he's been in the NFL, he's been squeaky clean. All that's gone. And now that feels like a betrayal to me. So I understand all the outrage. I really do. Adrian, we can put this behind us and move forward, but if something like this happens again, we need to part ways with him. 100% agree, Adrian. At this point, we're at the point where winning will solve most things, but if one more strike, he's out, and no winning, or no amount of winning can do that. So, Dolev Shemesh, man, you guys have some tough names. I don't believe any of those people these days are trying to get famous to blackmail athletes for stuff like that. Yeah, we kind of addressed the whole blackmailing situation. If the Bucs can trade and get Teddy Bridgewater in the door and compete for third spot to see it. Hey, I actually wouldn't be against that. I actually like that idea more than Nick Foles. I mean, I see Nick Foles floated around there. I'm just not ready to just completely wash our hands of Jameis and bring in a guy who had one great season and then a few really good games at the end of last season. Yes, he won a Super Bowl. That cannot be denied. But remember, Nick Foles is a journeyman quarterback and, has bounced around, and it may just be a system thing for him. So I would be wary on Nick Foles. But Teddy Bridgewater, the only knock on him is he has that injury. So I think he's pretty similar to Jameis-ish as far as his arm and accuracy, but I wouldn't upset it. Bring him in to compete at that point. I don't agree with what he did. This is Andy. I don't agree with what he did, but the NFL has iffy suspicions in the past. I wouldn't be surprised if he just admitted to get this all over with. Honestly, I'm in the camp, Andy, that if you did do something, it is always better to just admit it as quick as you can and move on. Think about Ryan Braun in the MLB, where he just denied, got off on a technicality for he had steroids in a system or something like that, and like FedEx guy screwed up and they get it in on time. So he was able to just deny. And then he failed another test. If he had just admitted from the get-go, things probably would have turned out differently for him. And so in James's case here, if he is indeed lying, he should have just admitted and gotten through with it, because then it's easier to forgive someone in the immediate. I mean, obviously it burns, but man, when you lie and stuff like this comes out, it's just, you're going to get found out. So, a lot of people don't press charges. Does that make it okay? Read a statement. He basically admits it. Rocco, yeah, I actually read it, and when I first read it, it sounded like an admission to me that Jameis admitted it. But if you read the words carefully, he leaves room for gray area. He says he apologized for putting her in that situation, which can be read as, I apologize for getting so drunk that I don't remember what happened, and something happened, but I don't know what it was. Sounds really lame and stupid, I know, but there is room for him to still deny. So he did not come out and say, I'm sorry that I did this egregious thing. So he broke my heart, Corey. I put Winston's shirt back in my closet early. I'm disappointed. I can't believe he would do that. Yeah, I'm right there with you, Jay. I'm very disappointed. I might bust the jersey out again somewhere down the road, but it's definitely going to stay in there for a while. I think community backlash is going to be too much. Glazers are going to have to get rid of him, I feel. The Glazers have been known to not really give in to public opinion. I feel like I haven't seen them do that since firing Gruden. I think that's the last time I felt like they gave in to public opinion. which obviously that can be debatable with other coaches that they fire. But right now it seems like they have his back. So they know something, or they think they know something. That's kind of what I'm holding on to right now. Darby should be in some sort of trouble for lying for Winston. Yeah, if he did indeed lie for Winston. Darby's just a shady character anyway. I really hope Jameis isn't hanging out with him anymore, man. Like, Darby was there for that first allegation, and Darby was the one that was friends with the guy who's in jail for sexual assault, so yeah, I really hope Jameis has better friends now. Lawyers almost certainly advised him to make that statement. Yeah, again, I think you're right. Either lawyers had Winston pin up that statement, or they probably did for him, or that was probably a condition for the NFL for him to reduce his suspension from the 6 games to the 3. Hopefully, we'll get more information on that from Schefter or Ian Rappaport or whoever digs up this information, but there's still info to come, guys. There's still news to come on this thing. I feel like we're not done yet. I think stuff will be leaked, and hopefully it's more in the positive light, but regardless, the damage is done for Winston. Even if it is true, is it really so egregious? Sounds to me like he tried to make a move on a girl when she denied him and stopped them missing something. Yeah, again, there's no excuse for it, man. Even if he was drunk, and I don't know if you were here for earlier when I said this, I have a little grace for people who do these things when they are drunk, because in my experiences of having too much alcohol, I never did those things. I never thought to do those things. So considering Jameis's past, no, it is a bad thing. Even not considering his past, you should never, ever, 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 ever touch a woman in her private areas without her consent. Never. Period. It is egregious and it is bad, and Jameis deserves punishment for it if he did it. So, Andy, it sucks that there aren't any good experienced vets to help keep Jameis in line. Well, there's Gerald McCoy, and I'd say he's probably the most positive role model on the team, and he's a veteran, so there's that. Yeah, and how do we know how do we know they weren't flirting? Even if they were, man, like, honestly, it's just, you got to know. Unless she literally asked for it, you can't do it. You can't do it. And if they were making out or something before it happened, if they were getting all hot and heavy and then it happened, and he argues that it was consensual, then yeah, there's an argument there. But I don't think that argument's being made. I think he's straight up saying that nothing happened. So, if he wasn't a number 1 pick and QB, he'd be cut right now. You're right, Rocco. You're right. But that's football. That's always been football. That's college NFL. The stars get more chances. The scrubs do not. Man, that's just the way the world is. It's unfortunate, but that's how it is. Ben Roethlisberger got a 6-game suspension being accused of rape, and he'll probably go into the Hall of Fame. Let's bring back Mike Glennon. Adrian, I know somebody on Reddit who would be very happy you said that. Yeah, we're done with Glennon. Although, if it comes to the point where we have no QBs and we want some competition, sure, bring them on. Whatever. Okay. I think I'm actually, it's time for me to go now. I'm going to go watch Incredibles 2 and get my mind off of this crap, man. I need to pick me up. So, thanks for joining me on this impromptu live stream, guys. I'm glad this one didn't cut out. And for those who are watching on the replay, thanks for joining and interacting and commenting. I love all your comments, whether you agree or not. Or not. Thanks for interacting. And again, follow me at Play Reaction on Twitter. Subscribe so you know when we're live. Wednesdays at 9 are when I'm usually live. So check me out then. See you guys. Thanks for joining me, Rocco, Andy, Adrian, Gan, Andy, J, Dolev, everybody. If I'm missing somebody, sorry about that. Oh, Mr. Bucs Nation, James, thanks for joining from Publix. All right, see you guys.